What's up, everybody? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm continuing the Godzilla-Thon. We're now up to Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, also known as Ebirah, Horror of the Deep. Now, I also have the Godzilla figure right here in the 1965 to 66 suit, but I don't have any Ebirah figures, so that's the only figure I have to represent this movie. So, what could I say about this one? This one is definitely not my favorite of the Godzilla movies, but I mean, it's still... I mean, I've seen movies that are way worse than this one, still. Even Godzilla movies that are way worse than this one. So, where do I begin with this one? The story is that people are... Like, they were looking for certain loved ones that disappeared without a trace. And then when the good guys end up going on a remote planet. I mean, not planet, an island. And it going on an island. And it was... And the island... And they were... And the island has a group of bad guys in a terrorist organization called the Red Bamboo. And no one can escape. Nobody can escape the whole island because they have a monster named Ebirah under their control who guards the island. And Ebirah is this lobster monster which looks like this guy right here. And he ends up... And this is what he also looks like in the back right here. So, and it turns out and it has a native girl, which has the same actress that played that girl who turns out to be one of the Exilians. And the main villain, who has an eye patch, is actually the same guy that played Dr. Sarazawa, which is that's awesome. The bad guy in this one's really good. I love the human villain in this movie. And because no one can escape because they have a monster named Ebirah who guards the island, they, out of convenience, the good guys end up discovering Godzilla sleeping in a cave. And now this one, it takes a really long time to get going in this film. You don't see Godzilla until 45 minutes in the film, and he doesn't wake up until another 15 minutes in the film. So, overall, Godzilla does not wake up until an hour in. So basically Godzilla was only there for like half the movie. It was only an hour and a half. So basically he was only there for like half the movie. So there's not much monster action. And also Mothra was involved in this movie. So one of the natives, basically the slaves that got captured were from Infant Island. So they were trying to wake up Mothra throughout most of the movie. And Mothra does not wake up until like the end of the film, like the last third. So when they wake up Godzilla, they use the sword to attract a bolt of lightning, and it woke up Godzilla. Yeah, also, this movie... You'll see what I mean. After Toho made King Kong vs. Godzilla, they made King Kong Escapes, where they made King Kong Escapes. Before then, they were going to have Kong star in this movie, but instead they scrapped that and made Godzilla, and used Godzilla, because they thought Godzilla would be more profitable. Basically, they forced it in there, but followed some of the same script. So yeah, remember how Kong got struck by lightning that made him stronger? Well, the lightning woke up Godzilla, which that's the reason why that was originally written for Frankenstein. It was originally written for King Kong, which King Kong's part was originally written for Frankenstein during King Kong vs. Godzilla. So yeah, from Frankenstein to King Kong to Godzilla, that the lightning bolt went. So that's the weird thing about Godzilla, that he's vulnerable to strong voltages of electricity, but oddly not lightning. And then there was a scene where Godzilla ends up having a curious romantic interest on a human on the native girl, which is this girl right here next to the men right here. And I just find it so weird. Godzilla to me, that's not Godzilla to me. The real Godzilla to me never gives a flying fuck about humans. You don't give a goddamn about any humans at all. Because, like I said, the true definition of Godzilla to me is that he's the symbol of nuclear destruction, a metaphor, even an anti-hero. Like a ruthless killer. And so then, but then when they, so Godzilla just felt out of place in this movie, where they made him act like King Kong in some cases. That's definitely out of character to me. And also, Kong gets into a fight with a giant condor, which that was just retarded. One of the stupidest Godzilla battles ever. And what's worse is that you can't even see what's going on. Where it was seen was too frantic, and they was shot in extreme close-ups, and Godzilla just kills that giant condor. So Godzilla fights Ebra, and after Ebra ends up meeting his death by getting his pincer claws torn off, causing Ebra to retreat into the sea. So then after that, the red bamboo was supposed to have set the whole island blown to bits. So then Godzilla went back on the island, and then meets up with Mothra. Mothra escapes with the humans, because like Godzilla always tries to get into fights with Mothra, and she don't. Which that's one of the reasons that Godzilla's part was originally written for King Kong. So yeah, all those two monsters, the Ebra and the giant condor, were supposed to be enemies of King Kong, hence the reason why they have no powers. So, bottom line, if this movie was a King Kong movie, that would have been so much better. Like, just why? It's not right. It's just not right for Godzilla. Like, out of character. I mean, so, would I recommend this movie? Well, it's not one of my favorite movies, and if you're looking for the if you're looking for the good Godzilla stuff, you can probably skip this one. But if you're a hardcore collector, hardcore Godzilla fan, you might as well grab this in your collection, especially if you have the money to spare. So, I mean, bottom line, this is one of the weaker movies in the Showa series. But, like, fear not, there will be a better movie coming up next, which, brace yourself. You either love it or hate it. So, that's all I have to say, folks. That's pretty much all I have to say. Spoiler alert. So, that's all I have to say. The Godzilla suit's not my favorite. The story was not that great. The monster battles, were kind of mediocre. Ebra is not one of my favorite monsters. Not my favorite monster for Godzilla to fight. Which, yeah, Ebra, I can see why. Ebra seems like he could have been a better King Kong enemy than Godzilla. And Godzilla's just out of place, acting like King Kong in this movie. So, that's all I have to say, folks. And as always, stay awesome, my fellow Godzilla fans. And I'll catch you in the next Godzilla-Thon review. And as always, stay awesome, pals. And I'll catch you later. Bye.